Hello everyone, my name is Mohamad Harun Al Rosyid. So I will tell you about the biography or the impact of Edward Bernays. So let's start begin. Edward Louis James Bernays, or usually called Bernays, was an Australian-American pioneer in the field of public relations and propaganda in the World War I. Bernays was born on November 22, 1991 in Vienna, Austria. Edward Bernays earned the name the father of the public relations because he had created a team that combined business, marketing, and psychology and struggled until the end of his life to professionalize, standardize, and possibility control his work for the future. Bernays was named of the most 100 most influential American of the 19th century by Life magazine. Edward Bernays' works include crystallizing public relation or public opinion, public relation in 1945, the engineering of consent in 1955, and propaganda in 1928. He was heavily inspired by the works of famous writers like Gustav Le Bon, Wilfred Trotter, Walter Lippmann, and his own uncle Sigmund Freud. So the first one of the campaign of the Bernays is Struggle of Freedom. Movement is a feminist movement carried out in the United States by carrying out the smoking movement in the public space in order to show that women have the same freedom to smoke as a man. So on March 31 in 1929, Bernays hired a woman to match while smoking their torch of freedom at the Easter Sunday parade, which was an important moment to counter social barriers for women smokers. And the purpose of this movement or the campaign is actually to increase cigarette sales of the American Tobacco Company, or we know now is Lucky Strike. So it's to create an effective cigarette and marketing strategy. So and the second one of the campaign is the most manipulative and crazy movement of carried by Edward Bernays was the United Fruit Company movement in Guatemala. For what? And that's why. Because this movement contained propaganda and fake news carried out by the Edward Bernays toward the agrarian reforms carried out by the Guatemala movement. And for the result in the collapse of the Guatemalan government at the time. So this movement occurred in the 1950s, which began when Jacobo Arbenz was elected a president of Guatemala. So after he took the office or the president, as a president, he carried out the agrarian reform policy that distributed land, including land from the United Fruit Company to the poor. And the last is the Krill Committee was a U.S. propaganda agency tasked with influencing American public opinion in favor of U.S. to involve in the World War I between 1914 until 1918. Edward Bernays did not sit as a leader on the Krill Committee, but as the active member of the propaganda team, and developed many mass communication strategy. He worked in the Foreign Division of the Committee of Public Information, or CPI. And he was heavily involved in the spreading in the pro-American narrative internationally. So, and the last is about the summary, my summary. So for the summary from the story of Edward Bernays, we can learn that the modern concept of the public relation was formed which can influence human thought and emotion, and Bernays understood that the changing public opinion is not enough just with the facts, but requires narratives, symbols, and figures that public or people trust. Okay, I think that's all for my explanation. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.